Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're to another TMNT comic episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's coming back to New York with me tonight?
One of the mutanimals, Red Fox.
and we are continuing our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic adventure, voyage. I don't know what word is best here. So this time we are covering just the arc called Monsters, Misfits, and Madmen, which is issue 33 through 36, and we're covering the 2014 annual. Woohoo! You know, I think I understand now why there's an annual in 2013, there's an annual in 2014, and there's nothing again until 2020. I think I understand why.
You can get the idea.
They just are like, yeah, these are stupid. We're gonna not make these anymore.
Yeah,
and when I was clicking around, I know the 2021 at least had 5 turtles on the cover, so I know it's already past that point by that time.
Oh yeah.
So when there's more turtles. All right.
Honestly,
so
I think the best part of this entire comic is probably just the start where they like show gritty New York. That's something Eastman always did very well, is show the grittiness of New York and his vision. But after that, we'll get into what happens.
The cover got my interest because on the cover you see the turtles, you see somebody holding a weird Japanese lamp that reminded me of a particular movie. Huh.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, I'm interested. Like, you're gonna reference that the movie, exists somewhat in this canon. Like, I mean, not movie canon, but
I think that because Rennet actually was a character born out of the Mirage series, so I think she might have even had that scepter back then.
Okay.
Could be wrong on that. I don't remember fully, but I knew she was in it. I just don't know if the scepter was fully a thing.
I think it is, but I won't go back and read Mirage because I also don't like black and white comics.
Yeah, there's multiple issues with Mirage other than it being black and white. Yeah.
It's hard for me. Like, I'm also not a big fan of this style of art that they have for this issue, which is the Eastman style, as I like to... The way I classify it for this, like, it's just...
That's what it is, yeah.
I don't like it. It's ugly to me.
It is very dated. I mean, like I said, like, the only thing I get out of his drawings for the most part is some of the grittiness. Like, there was even, in more recent years, when they did the first Power Rangers Turtles crossover, they had him do a couple covers with his version of the Power Rangers with the Turtles, and it looked actually really nice in his art style. It was really cool to see that. It is definitely more of like kind of a novelty thing though. Like to have a full blown issue, a bigger issue too. I think this annual is actually kind of long, right? Like it's not good.
It's longer than I was expecting. But then again, annuals just are. So that's not an unusual thing. Annuals usually are like, here's your issue's going to cost a little bit more than your regular issue that is a side story that doesn't connect with the other stuff. So, and they did put
this one actually does connect. It's just for that connection, you got to wait.
Yeah, because it even says in here the story takes place before Turtles in Time #1.
Yeah, so obviously it's canon in the timeline. It's just not an enjoyable one. It's supposed to be a fun side ride or whatnot, but it doesn't really pan out that way.
No, I mean there were cool, like you said, the way it starts off where you see the gritty New York. I mean, that does look cool, and it does, kind of touch on the fact that they just came back to the city. Things are kind of a mess. They're talking about how they're just trying to, fix up their cave or their lair for, and like they set up this trap for Leo or something too. It's like the whole idea that does pay off in my mind.
They're trying to get Raph, but
okay, that's what
Raph up at the same time, and yeah.
And then you have Casey and April, but April has more hair now for some reason in this drawing, which changes next. It's annual. But like you have a small moment of them just going to a hockey game, like little things, them, but also kind of contradicts the next issue of the main series that takes place after this. That kind of shows you how Casey is not okay.
Right.
It's just weird, and like they do a good job of showing you that it all takes place in one in a moment, because you have Splinter get irritated, read the paper, and then in the time that he's reading the paper is also by the time that they come back, like because they disappear and come back, they go through time. It's really weird.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain. Like the girl that shows up, or the woman that shows up in this, I don't remember her name. Oh, Rennet, that you were mentioning earlier.
Rennet, yeah.
I agree. I'm 99% positive that you're right that she does have that staff in the Mirage comics too.
So one thing about time travel with Turtles, or in most cases, I think most genres or most IPs, if they bring in time travel, unless it's Chrono Trigger, then it makes sense. If you bring in time travel and dimensional travel, sometimes it gets a little messy. And this is kind of a introduction to how messy things can tend to be later on some of the side like stories. When you're going to Turtles in Time, that's kind of coherent, and for the most part, I feel. But when you get to like Bebop and Rocksteady kind of side stories, stuff like that, you start to lose track. Like, what the fuck is going on? It's chaos. It's pure chaos.
I mean, time travel is a hard concept to make work in general because the reason since you opened up this can of worms, I mean, the reason it works for Chrono Trigger is you have very set destinations that you're messing with in the fiction. So you change something 600 years ago, you come into the future, 400 years later, things are different enough. Like, if you give a woman some jerky for free who's rich, her husband, her great grandson will be a nice guy. But if you don't, he'll make you cluck like a chicken for 10 gil. So that that's a different thing.
Yeah, no idea what you're talking about there.
Yeah, nothing. But I don't know what Sunstone. What are you talking about? There's no reason there's sun coming out of my roof of my house. No, nothing here. Never heard of it. So yes, but I mean, I agree. Like, time travel can be very difficult to do, and I don't know enough, but I do like when she shows up and she's like, "Hey guys, we know each other." Like, who the fuck are you? And she's like, "Oh yeah, we met at a different time."
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. I don't hate Rennet as a character. I think that's fine because, I mean, back when she was introduced in Mirage, she had the Valley Girl kind of talk, and as this series goes on, she's going to show up again. She'll have that, and you'll see others from, I guess, I don't know, her timeline to where they talk. Everybody talks like that. So it's kind of interesting and not a bad character. I don't hate the character. I hate kind of some of the writing around the character.
Yeah, this issue wasn't like super strong writing. I mean, I liked it that when she makes that comment, she's like, we met before. And I was thinking, well, is she kind of talking about the Mirage Turtles? Because she met them in the Mirage, and it could be that they're referencing that.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Because like I might have told you before, there is a point to where that kind of crosses. So I think they'll clarify it more during that arc that this is that same Rennet.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense because she makes a comment about like time travel and world, kind of like, because the whole idea is that if you butterfly that you change something, to a different world, but since her time is different, maybe she's at the end of time, and she's traveling back, so it doesn't affect things as much for her. But the idea where she just kind of like, "Hey, I need your help, let's go," and then she just takes them, to some weird dimensional world. And my issue with it is the comic starts off in color, and when they go to this different place, it's all in black and white for the most part, and that bothers me because it takes away an element of what I enjoy in comics. I enjoy color in comics. I
enjoy telling the turtles apart.
I mean, that is a nice part too. They try.
That was half the issue with Mirage back then, is I didn't know who the fuck was who.
Yeah, no, it's annoying, and it bothered me in this too because I don't like it when you can't tell them apart.
And you don't have the luxury of having their weapons as backup. Like, oh, that's Raph, he's out of sight. No, it's they have their own makeshift gladiator weapons in this. And this is something I wanted to bring up too, is that maybe you can tell by the dialogue. Well, guess what? You're not going to really tell by the dialogue because the way they write them in this is actually different than the way they write them in the main series, or in the rest of the series, I should say.
Everything is weird. Like, I didn't understand. She teleports them to this place. They're immediately like arrested or something and put in cages or like a cell, and then they meet a Conan Barbarian style character.
Well, she took them there because I guess she wanted them to help out with these multi-dimensional gladiatorial games. So they go and help out, and then obviously they get captured, thrown away, and you see what happens. They pretty much eventually revolt, but that's what the turtles are there for.
I know, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole Conan character either. Like,
I can almost bet there's a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but there's probably a certain part of the fan base that really enjoys these side kind of like fun, mindless stories, and that's okay. but for the most part, that's not what IDW has shown that they like to put out there. So at least it's kind of more of like a one-off to where it's like, all right, I got to endure this mindless episode here. But other than that, we're not used to this kind of dialogue or silliness, I should say.
No, and it was hard for me. It was hard for me.
It was definitely hard. Like, it took me a while to get through just this first one because I was like, oh man, here we go with this like fun Eastman style. I think he even like co-wrote it on this one, and it shows just based on the way the turtles talk, you know.
And it shows. I like that because you're not wrong at all. It definitely shows. It fits his style, and that's not a good thing.
How much can we say? I mean, yeah, he's one of the actual creators of it, so if this guy wants to go in and have a blast and have a good time, it's cool in that sense, but it doesn't mean we got to enjoy it.
Which I'm
certain standard
sure
now with IDW.
Neither of us did from the sound of that comment, so
yeah.
No, it just didn't. It didn't do it for me.
Me either. And there's not really much to get into with this one. Like, yeah, you see some different types of races as far as gladiators. I think there's even triceratons.
There is.
That were gladiators. So that's kind of interesting, kind of seeing stuff like that. But any other thing they say or do, almost completely throwaway.
They're just fighting in an arena with different weapons. I mean, there's a little bit of, like, it's black, white, and gray. A lot of gray and browns that they use. It kind of like, oh, look, this is a reddish bandana. Or, like, this is, the tiny. But at the same time, like you said, they don't have their weapons. It's just bad.
Yeah, there's nothing I took away from this that I really enjoyed. I mean, other than seeing Rennet, because I don't mind her. I guess that's it. Anything else? Not so much.
No, I didn't mind Rennet being in it. Like, to me, that was fine. Like, you see a bunch of them. I only read this issue once because I just couldn't stomach it a second time.
Yeah, I'd never want to read this issue again.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of back and forth. Like, Rennet, is arguing with the council member. You have them getting tortured by the guards, and they're torturing the prisoners. And then, like you said, they eventually lead a revolt, and then the council is overthrown. It's just like, and I was just wondering myself, like, is this going to make any sense? Like, if there's any purpose to this? But it just felt so, I would have rather just had them in New York, a random issue where shit happens, and I would have been happy with that.
I would have loved to just see them like getting their bearings together. But, I mean, they kind of do that in the next issue. Next issue, they started off right.
Yeah.
This is kind of shoehorned in.
I mean, it is an annual, so I get it. Fucking annuals. Like, that's all I got. Fucking.
Yeah, it was a bit torturous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of anything else in here. Yeah, they revolt. They eventually get teleported back, and then Leo steps in the trap that they designed. You have a whole spread page of all the dumb shit that happens to him, and then he laughs, and then it shows Rennet takes the Conan Barbarian to prehistoric time for lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm assuming the Barbarian guy will show up again.
I think you assume wrong, because I don't think he does.
Oh, okay. I just figured he'd be someone they'd want to use again, not. But then again,
no. I mean, he sucks as a character anyway.
Well, I don't disagree with you.
So I mean, if they don't.
I mean, there's no disagreeing here, but I figured they would they went through this trouble to make a whole issue that has him in it. I thought they'd bring him back.
The only thing in this entire issue that they really reuse is going to be Rennet. That's it.
So in other words, I didn't need to read this issue at all. Okay.
Almost not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But hey, I did skip the last annual we were supposed to cover for this. We both did. So hey.
Oh yeah, that was. That's actually true. That one sucked even more than this one. And this one's bad.
Mm-hmm.
That one that had a little more weight to it, I guess, kind of was almost more important, but still sucked.
No, that one was definitely more important, but it wasn't for us. So I'm okay that we didn't read it. That's neither here nor there. So, and then that brings us to the next one, which is issue 33, which is like the beginning of the continuation of the series, and this is what actually matters. I do like that because the way that I'm reading these, it shows me all the different variant covers. And one of the variant covers for Free Comic Book Day back in 2014 was the first design of what they drew of a turtle. The really, really ugly ass design they did.
Oh, the fat Mikey.
Yes. Where he has a turtle tail. Yeah, tail.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, shit. Even the redesigns for the first actual comic in Mirage, they had turtle tails until shit. I couldn't tell you what issue, but they had them for a while, and they probably eventually took it out because it looked like two different things.
Well, the toys took it out because it looked like a dick.
Right, and in the comics, not only did it sometimes look like a dick, but it looked like a piece of shit coming out of their ass. I mean, it was one or the other. I mean, look at Mikey on here right now. Kind of, it's a little suspect.
And then the issue starts off, and I should talk about the actual cover that we got. I'm okay with the actual cover, like where it shows them kind of sneaking around in an alley, and they're drawn back to normal. They're still a little. I mean, they always change. The art does change a lot throughout the series.
It does. I do like it though. I do like. I felt great actually seeing this cover, not because it's just masterfully done. That's not my point. It is a good cover, good art for the most part, but I enjoyed this even more so, and I felt like I could breathe again because of that annual I just read before this one. It really sucked so much ass. I was glad to see this again.
So this is gonna be like one of those show me where it hurt you.
Yeah.
Where did the book hurt you? Show me. No, but I agree. It was just hard. Like this even starts off really interesting. Like you just have it's like New York City, and it just shows some people robbing a bank, and the turtles are just watching, and then all of a sudden they get involved because they make the idiots crash by throwing little things down. You just have a quick 2 pages of them beating the shit out of these guys without even being noticed.
Yeah, and that's the whole goal, right? I mean, they're back in town, they're ready for business, and they say it, and when they're on the rooftop, when they're done, they're like, yeah, this is just training, for the Foot and Shredder.
Yeah.
And what I thought was even more interesting is that they emphasize, like, hey, we're not heroes, we're not crime fighters, and Leo even kind of almost gets, like, aggressive about it towards Mikey, who kind of, he's the youngest, he does live that childlike kind of lifestyle, and he's like, we are not heroes, this is not what we do. We fight the Foot, we take care of big threats.
Yeah. And that's the fairest way to put it, though. That is what they do, and they're good at it.
Yeah, and as much as sometimes people might say, yeah, turtles are kind of like superheroes, I guess in a way, but their purpose typically is very focused.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. And I like it in this. I like it how they're like, well, no one saw us, and they just, it just shows them. And Leo's like, we're not here to stop crime. We're here to practice and get ready to take Shredder on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we need to do. And I thought that was a good point because that is what they need to do. They need to beat Shredder.
And even more so as this arc goes on, because one of the underlying themes is that urgency to take the Technodrome down. And if they're sitting here playing around and just stopping crime for the hell of it, they're not focusing enough to get one problem out of the way, which is Shredder, and then to ultimately take down the Technodrome.
Yeah.
Time is not necessarily on their side.
No. And it's also like all 4 of these issues almost feel like one-offs in a way, but it works very well. And that kind of surprised me how much I really like that. Like this issue.
Yeah, I thought it made sense.
Like pretty quickly you see, after they're jumping around, you see Bebop and Rocksteady robbing a van, and Hun is there, leading the charge, And you see a Hun's, working for Shredder, and you have a very good scene of where Shredder's like, well, about your son. And I'm just like,
oh, yeah. Might as well get this out of the way. And he presents it to him. I guess we'll get to that more so, but he presents it to Hun as if he's doing him a favor by telling him. That's that manipulation that Shredder is known for.
And and just the, like, this issue, well, kind of like the whole thing in this arc, these 4 issues, is it's very much about Casey. And I gotta say, that was a welcome change.
Agreed. Kind of my past, not to get into that, but I do have a soft spot for the way they write this character at this time. Now his character evolves through time to where it's not really much of a thing anymore, so I don't always feel the same way about it, but during these times, I definitely have a soft spot for the character, and I like how they handle it a lot. His relationship with his dad.
No, it's good in here, and then like you have Shredder starts to mention it to Han, and then it kicks back to April and Casey. They're because Casey's living with them. They're in the hideout, which makes sense. And I like this. She's back to her hair. You can tell it's growing a little bit. Well, because different artists, but I really like their relationship in here, and how, like, she even says, she's like, college is what I'm focusing on right now because that's what I have when everything else has gone to shit. And he's not, so she wants him to be involved in the schooling, where Casey's like, well, I can't play, hockey anymore, so fuck school type of thing.
I think it shows a very interesting character dynamic between the two, because like us in real life, we deal with stressors and issues in our own way, and we
Yeah.
relieve that stress in our own way. And Casey is not the one that's going to bury his head in books like, oh yeah, this is going to distract me. Not a damn chance. Besides the fact that he has so much on his plate that it's amazing that he hasn't snapped or had a meltdown yet.
Yeah, he just got
And she's
too much.
trying to be there for him, and she's doing what she can. But being that they are from technically two different worlds, they're doing the best they can to meet on some middle ground.
Yeah, I mean he's trying, but he can't you can and I do like how much they show the struggle for her in this. I thought that was really good to show that struggle and to show what she's going through, trying to help him.
Yeah, I mean this time for not only these human characters but the turtles is a trying time. There's a lot still at stake. There's a lot they still have to carry on their shoulders throughout all this.
And then you see like the gauntlet, to talk about because they're going to go meet Harold, which again ties back into, that random micro series issue with Donatello.
Yep. And back then, when I first read that micro series, I'm not thinking like, oh yeah, this character is going to be around for a long time, or it's not going to have any real significance. Boy, was I wrong.
We both were, but it's just not what you would expect. Yeah, it's so weird that comes back. I felt like how there's very little stuff in these books that are throwaway.
Yeah.
Except for those freaking, French ninjas. Everything, nothing else is throwaway. Just those assholes. And then you have Hun go back to the bar and visit his friend Angel's father. And like, this is a powerful ass scene where, yes, he gives up alcohol, which is a great thing, but he's a worse person than he was, I think, before the alcohol.
Damn near. At least when he was drinking, he was at home and kind of ruining his own life and his son's, not to mention that, I suppose. But he wasn't sitting out here terrorizing the world. He wasn't destroying neighborhoods. He wasn't robbing banks and armored cars. And he affects a lot more people at this stage in his life and his now, quote, career.
And like how much he flipped, because I think Franklin makes a comment about, because they know who almost killed Casey, and he makes a comment about, like, now you're working for the guy that gutted your son, and he just fucking flips. And that's when you get the scene of when Shredder told him, yeah, I almost killed him. But if I meant to kill him, he'd be dead.
Yeah, like, it's almost worse that he knows ahead of time, because if Brooklyn would have said this to him, like, before Shredder told him, can you imagine what his reaction might have been? Like, either one, he won't believe Brooklyn, which is debatable, or two, he's going to be like, you know what, fuck this. I need to do something about Shredder.
Yeah.
He lied to me. And he could have even turned into a damn anti-hero at that point.
Shredder just plays it well, though.
Yeah, he played the manipulation card, got to him early, or not early enough, and you see the repercussions from that by Brooklyn getting slammed into his own liquor supply.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of, like, the three people there, and then Angel finally shows up, and he's ready to kill her too.
Well, he doesn't give a damn, and he's not only beating up his best friend, but then threatening his former friend's daughter, somebody that I'm sure was like a niece to him as she grew up.
Yeah, had to been, but he's just that shitty of a person, and like you really see it in here.
I will say this though, I kind of love these story arcs with Hun and Purple Dragons in general, because it just reminds me of Double Dragon so much. And he would be a badass Double Dragon boss.
Yeah, you are 100% right. I wonder, there probably was inspiration taken from Double Dragon for him.
Maybe. I mean, Purple Dragons were around at first Mirage issue, actually. So did that predate Double Dragon?
84. What? No, is it 85 or 84 is Turtles?
84 is Turtles. So I think Double Dragon came out after that. But the character of Hun, yes, it could have been.
Well, Hun is 2003.
Yeah,
cartoon.
So he's much later, but he had different origins back then.
Yeah.
This is more Double Dragon-esque, so yeah, it could have inspired it.
And then this part ends where Casey shows up at the bar because he wants Casey, because he wants to, because he's going to offer him a deal. Join the guy that tried to murder you, and he'll let you live if you join him. Like, that's
See,
what people.
That's the logic of Hun. That's his flawed, shitty logic. And Casey, I mean, realistically speaking, like, what can you do in this situation other than leave town and just, because who told him? Who told him go start a new life? I think it was Hun himself that told him, like, hey, let's go start a new life. Get out of here. And honestly, it probably at the time was probably his best option. Because what's going to happen otherwise? He and his dad have to kill each other? Or
Nothing
Casey
good.
fights until Shredder kills him? Or he has to more so be careful and rely on the turtles. But you see, Casey's all around on his own.
Yeah, and this really shows it too. I mean, all their interactions, like he's just, he really is alone in this. Even though he has the turtles and he has Angel and he has April, he feels completely, solo. He doesn't, because Hun is his father, and I think he feels very responsible. He has to deal with Hun. I do like how Hun offers him, like, he's like, here, I got money. Go, I'll get out of town, forget the turtles, forget all of this, and just leave. And of course, he doesn't do it. But I like it that Hun wants, like, he's like, I don't want to kill you. I don't want you to get killed. So just leave. And I thought that was good. I thought that was really good. And we'll get back to a couple parts in this issue. But like the last thing you see of Hun is he has a picture of him and Casey. He crumbles it up and just throws it in the ground and walks away.
Yep.
Because he'd given up on Casey. And now he's going to try to kill him. You also have Casey going to the bar. And I think his name is Franklin, blaming Casey and Angel for getting involved with the turtles.
Brooklyn is her dad.
Brooklyn, okay. Like, it's not the turtles' fault that your old friend is a psychopath. Like, it's because of Shredder. Well, I mean, he was a psychopath anyway, but it's because of Shredder. Like, you're putting the blame in the wrong spot.
Well, and Brooklyn doesn't understand it, though. He's kind of small time at this point. He's out of the... I mean, yeah, I'm sure he hears things and whatnot, but he's kind of out of the criminal element now. He's not a leader of the Purple Dragons like he might have been back in the day, and he probably barely knows Shredder who he is, if at all. And what else is he going to do other than place the blame on the wrong people? He doesn't know what to do or what to make of it.
Yeah.
He just got his ass whooped by somebody that was supposed to be his best friend.
That was before his best friend found out what mutant steroids were.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can think of with the mutant gen for Han is that it's a playoff steroid.
Pretty much.
I mean,
on a bigger scale. I mean, even
I know
heights. I mean,
there's only one human I can think of where like they really went from being a smaller guy. Maybe they were a wrestler and then they become a movie star and they just get gigantic. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't by a good diet and exercise. So
yeah. You can put that one together pretty easily.
It's just funny. Like, every so often I look back at the old, like The Rock and stuff, and I'm like, and you see him now, and I'm like, my God, he just like looks like he ate the old version of him.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Like it really does. It's like, my God, how does that happen? All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Just eat a lot more, man, and work out.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Take a few shots in between.
Yeah. Slim shots either, just
but hey, I guess money does help when you have money too. So that brings us to the next issue, 34. And so I got to mention this cover because
wait 1 second. I mean the interaction between Leo and Splinter, and unless you're good about that.
No, we can talk about it. I forgot, then I remembered.
Yeah, one thing to note is when Leo's coming down the stairs, do you see the railing? I believe, is that not when what's his name was there? Slash.
Let me pull up. Probably it's the same place. Oh yeah, no, that's where Slash, they fight Slash and he falls and stuff.
Yeah, that's where
that's cool.
Him.
Okay,
so that's pretty cool
really
callback they have there.
And
but I guess
they don't.
Other than that, the scene they don't
really
leave
that spot either.
Do her so much.
The whole arc for them takes place in that spot.
Yeah,
that was another thing interesting because this doesn't really feel like a 4-issue story arc, because like this also doesn't say like part 1, part 2 like we have with a lot of different issues. This is just different issues, but they all kind of connect, I guess, into the way that the timeline thing that we use does it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me sad. We get farther ahead. There's no, it's just nothing.
Yeah. When you talked about picture, I thought that was one of the most powerful moments I've seen for a while in the comic. Just kind of like as he looks at that picture, it shows that emotional look on his face. He stares at it for a bit, crumples it, kind of indicating he's saying goodbye.
Yeah,
he's fully committing to saying goodbye to his whatever broken relationship he has with his son.
I mean, that is what's happening, because the next time you see it, he's ready to kill him.
Yeah. It's no break. Balls to the wall, gas pedal to the floor. Like he doesn't care. It's over. It's
also kind of the thing. I feel like it could also be a thing of being very loyal to your job too. in a sense. Like, the job gives him meaning in his life now because.
Well, yeah, he has nothing else. He says it too. I think in that scene when he talked to Casey, I think he said it something along those lines. Like that is who he is, and he has. If he doesn't have that, what he calls a job, he has no purpose in life.
That's not much of a job. Yeah. You're working for a murderer who likes to cut people's heads off.
I will say, Hun is good at it. So I mean,
yes, and they do show that throughout here. Like, yeah, but and then the issue 34, like the cover, I didn't see where it was going. Like the cover has Donatello and April, and then it says eliminate threat, and I did not assume what character I was gonna get, which made me get the biggest smile on my face when I realized who's in this little one issue.
Yeah, I think because I didn't either when I first read this, I didn't know where they were going with it, but it once you realize who it is and what that cover means, it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool that they even hinted like that.
One of the characters I really like too. We'll talk about shortly, but I was happy to see that. And again, more stuff with Harold, like the way this issue starts. You have April worrying about Casey, and Casey almost smacks her in the face with a baseball bat because he's such on edge over what happened, with his father, and he. They're like, hey, we're gonna go see Harold, Donatello, April, and they invite Casey. Casey, doesn't want to come with them because he needs to be alone. So instead, Angel kind of joins him. And I was very confused. I'm like, why is Angel coming with him? Like, what does she have to do with much? But now I can see as reading this, like, they got big plans for her coming up in the next arcs, I feel.
Yeah, I wouldn't say maybe the grandest of plans, but she's a character that I don't mind, and I think they utilize her pretty decently.
I agree. She's grown on me. When I first saw her, I didn't really care for her as a character, and now I'm like, okay, I'm on board. And after this issue, I was on board more.
Well, I think in most cases in this comic, that's going to be, until way later, and you'll see then. But until that point, most characters are not only interesting, but they're redeemable. So yeah. They know how to build a character, and they know how to make you interested.
No, they definitely do. And like they go back to Harold's place, and he's the guy that gave him the equipment, and he's all angry at them for ruining their equipment. But also, Donnie brings back the thing from the Utron Empire issue, where the last one of that, where he got the teleporter instruction, and he gives it to Harold to help him try to make this transporter. Like, stuff that kind of plays along, and it just everything connects, and I love that. So I do have a question. The armor that Angel finds that Harold had made, that she ends up putting on in this issue, is that from anything else before?
Nobody, I think, was in the original Mirage too.
Okay.
Like as far as IDW, that wasn't anything. That was just something.
No, I knew it was new for here, but it just the fact that like throughout later on this issue, when she does put on the armor, she says, "Well, I'm a nobody." I'm like, there's no way that's got to be a reference. Well, yes, I know they're making a new character essentially, but like I'm like, this has to be a reference to something in Mirage. That's how I took it.
Yeah.
Because I watched enough of that stupid cartoon and collected those figures that I don't remember a nobody character. So it also wouldn't have worked with the toy design, because it would have 2 normal legs and 2 normal arms, and that wasn't a thing for the toys. They had to have weird legs and weird arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was not Angel herself, was a different character in the suit, and the suit looked much different also, but that character was in Mirage.
Okay, that's what I figured, because this feels like such a throwback to Mirage at times too.
Which is great. I mean, now, obviously, as we talked about before, not only Mirage with the cartoon and then, even the movies at certain points. But, yeah, they do a good job of throwing that in there and making them relevant.
Which I appreciate. And, like, when they're at Harold's place, she finds a sheet on some random thing that he gets all upset, and it turns out it's a Metalhead they uncover. And I was like, fuck yeah. I mean, I know it's different. I don't know if this is Mirage. I know the 87. If I remember correctly, the 87 cartoon, Donatello built Metalhead. That is his name, right? Metalhead?
Metalhead, yeah. I mean, okay. Metalhead in the cartoon, I think, was purely an enemy. And here, you'll see, like, not even Metalhead, and like, right, you see him right now, and it's interesting, which is cool. But wait till you see where that goes with this robot.
Okay,
you're not going to be expecting where to go.
I don't Google nothing. I won't search. But one damn thing when it comes to these comics anymore. You can't.
It has like, all right, so here's one thing I was thinking about too, was that each turtle at some point has like a very big arc that kind of like centers around them for the most part. I know Raph's was like at the start of the series. Like he was lost, they had to find him. And then you got Donnie later on, which is a very interesting arc. You'll see when we get there. Leo, when he was with the Foot. The only one I can think about is like Mikey. I think his is going to come more so with Hob later on.
Okay.
And you'll see, but each turtle kind of has their own thing going on, and they're all very interesting.
No, I'm definitely excited, and I love how this series makes sure all the characters matter.
Yeah.
Like even in this 4-issue arc, I mean, each issue kind of feels, not all in the turtles, but it all feels based on a certain, first one's very much about Casey. This one's very much about Donatello and April. Like, it does a good job with that.
And in this entire series, or arc, I should say, it's mainly focused on Donnie and Leo. Like, Mike and Raph are kind of taking more of a backseat, I feel. What I do like about Donnie, especially during this arc and other ones to come, he's always looking at the bigger picture, and that somebody like him is what they should be portraying with him. I think they hit it like right on the head with that character development for him.
For sure. Like in this issue with Metalhead, I mean, and again, it brings up that micro series where he's like, yeah, well, when Baxter tried to trick me, so I had to make security, and it made sense to make it a turtle. And I like how he tries to control it with the remote control, and then it just breaks it in half and says, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. And like, it was a badass too. Like, they only, tries to kill April because she worked for StockGen and he programmed all of StockGen. It isn't until finally Angel takes it out when she puts on the nobody suit, she's able to beat it after a fight. I thought that was really cool. It was just really cool to see Metalhead. It was cool to see her become more of a character. Like, you can tell that they gave her powers now, essentially, so she's going to be more involved, is my guess.
And she actually names Metalhead, too.
Yeah, which I like that, too.
Yeah, I mean, she's, for the most part, she has a pretty good run. And they don't ever fully take her out, but she will be a little more prominent as we go.
Okay. I'm all right. I mean, I also feel like all this is just gearing up for Attack on Technodrome. That's how I assume what's happening.
A lot of this is the big buildup for that. I mean, obviously, especially Donnie's whole deal. So yeah. A lot of it comes together as you've seen, and we'll get to there. But the end of the final issue in this one. But yeah, we can cover that later.
Can't wait. And then the last page of this, after the fight, the last page of this is you see one of the scientists that work for StockGen gets held up at gunpoint by Hob, and Hob and Slash show up, and he's like, she's talking on the phone. She's like, "Oh, I can't find any work," and then Hob's like, "Great job, your job hunt is over."
Yeah, he forces a job on her. That's Lindsay. So Lindsay has also some big involvement as we go along. This truly is only the start of her and Hob.
I figured
this will go a long way.
I assumed that, like, based on reading this issue and everything, I was like, yeah, I could tell, like, I'm excited, because you would also have, since we started doing this, you made comments like back from the first issue about Hob wanting an army when we first covered that arc over 2 years ago, and it's something that's been with me ever since. And again, I can't. This is a series where I can't look anything up, because anything I look up I'll spoil myself. I can't. I just got to read. So, and that brings us to issue 35, and the cover with this one kind of threw me for a loop, because the cover is slashing at Michelangelo, and I was very confused. I'm like, so they're going to fight them? They're going to turn against them? Like, the implications of the cover were not what I expected.
Well, and then you see the next one, too, with Raph on his back.
Yeah, and that ugly style, yes.
Yes.
I don't like Eastman's style. Just don't.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Eastman's still involved in this, right? At this time?
Yeah, he's still, I think, doing a lot of consulting and writing.
Because Laird's not involved, right?
No.
Okay. Because I remember, wasn't Laird involved with the comics for a little bit after they sold it? Or he kept the rights to it? I can't remember.
Well, Laird sold his rights to Eastman. So Eastman was almost like the sole owner at that point. I think he might have been involved. It sounds very familiar that at some point he was involved in maybe certain stories or even other projects, but he doesn't have, as far as I'm aware, doesn't have any rights anymore.
Okay, because I know when he sold it to Nickelodeon, which is before 2012, I thought he kept the comic book rights in case he wanted to do it again.
Laird, I don't think so.
I thought Laird, maybe it was Eastman then. I can't.
Eastman still has a stake in it.
Okay, I can't remember. I get confused with what did what. I know they had a falling out for a while, and they had nothing to do with each other, and then they did reconnect finally again. But I can't remember everything. All I gotta say is I'm really glad these IDW exist. So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Because this got me back. Because of reading these, I'm back in the Turtles. So it's big time.
This is what we needed. Our generation, we needed something like this because we can't go watch the cartoons for the most part. Like this is what we have.
It's still hard. It's hard to watch. I've been trying to watch 03, and it's hard. It's way better than the 87 cartoon, but it's hard.
It is.
It's still
because it's still not
cartoon.
made for us necessarily. So it's that's why I haven't really committed to it 100% because the only way that I'm probably going to get through it is those recaps that you ended up doing.
You only need to watch the recaps, by the way. I watched all that and I enjoyed it nonstop. Those YouTube videos by some random guy that made recaps of each season. That was enough. I know the whole series now and I know everything that happened. I don't need to watch it.
Good.
So
yeah, I'll
watch the recaps. You can absorb it all that way and be good. So, and then this issue kind of starts off with something I like too. You see Woody again, and they're picking up a pizza from Woody. Like it's nice to see, stuff is kind of reconnected. This is very a Michelangelo Raphael issue too, because they're just together. They're gonna go see Hob, And I like how Mikey's like, yeah, Hob, he's a good guy now. He's not doing anything shady.
Yeah, that's gullible Mike. They tend to write him.
Yeah, I like it. Like his line is, I don't know, Raph. He did take a bullet rescuing Leo. Could be he's really changed. Could be he's practically a good guy now. And then the same page where it says that you see him holding the gun to Lindsay while she's tied up.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny that they did that. And I will say this about Mikey though, like he kind of is the bridge for a lot of people. I mean, just look at how he gets along with Slash. He and Hob later on down the line are gonna have some sort of partnership in a way that we'll see. So Mikey is a bridge builder, whereas all the other brothers are kind of to themselves.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Hob has definitely grown on me. Like I know you said it a long time ago. You're like, yo, he's grown on me a lot. You said I'd appreciate him more as the book went on. And then you have some stuff with Casey where you have him flashing back to when he got accepted to college, talking with his mother because he's visiting her grave.
There's a couple things I noticed here. I mean, one is this not the first time that we've seen her?
This is the first time we've seen her not in a bed dying.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they did show that at least. I see. All right.
Yeah, they show a little bit. They think they show when she promised him because they show the necklace that he got her, or something to do with a necklace that the asshole, his father, before he becomes Hun, sold in that issue, which I forget what that was. It might have been the micro series, Casey Jones issue, but that's a lot. We don't see much of her. This is the first time we see her health.
Yeah, and the other thing, first time that we actually see that Casey has a middle name.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. But yes,
right on the envelope, which is his dad's name. I'm sure he's real happy about that.
I'm sure yeah. Okay, I didn't catch that. I wasn't paying enough attention in my 2 readings of this issue.
My 2 readings.
I read it twice. You know
me.
I can't stop reading this stuff.
And there's Casey, as he said, in the cemetery, and then the whatever gang is in the Double Dragon game shows up.
I do like how he's like, how'd you know it was me? And how'd you find me? He's like, this is where you always go when you want to feel sorry for yourself. And Hun's going to kill him.
He fully intends to end it right now.
Which is fucked up.
Yep. Just when you thought this guy probably couldn't get any worse.
Oh, he keeps getting worse. And then it cuts back to Mikey and Raphael go to Hobbs' apartment. And I laughed at this where, they come there, they open the door, and he's like, I got pizza for you. And then freaking Slash just breaks open the door. He's like, pizza!
And that's a theme. That's an ongoing theme with anything around Hobb. As much as he wants to build an army and he wants mutant order, anytime anybody's around him, it's pure fucking chaos, as you'll get to see as the series goes on.
I even just saw in this issue, because they go in there and they're like, so what's up, what's up, Hobb? Do you want to open the door? And they see Lindsay tied up, and then they see, hi, I'm Pete.
Oh, fucking Pigeon Pete. You know what? Pigeon Pete stays around for a while, man, and he's actually kind of a funny character. They didn't do too bad on him.
Is he from anything else? Like, was he in the...
I think he's an original one.
He's fucking funny though in this because they're. I mean, you have them trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and then almost every page you have Pete going, "Hi, I'm Pete." Because you just keep. Also, pigeons have no memory, which is a real thing. Like they have, I think it's like a 20-second memory or something.
Yeah.
So they can't. So that's also the joke. Like he's repeating himself because he doesn't remember that he already introduced himself.
And he probably doesn't know very many other words than what he's saying because he's a newly turned mutant.
Are dumb,
you know, because they do explain something in here. I think it's this issue where the reason they need Lindsay is because they need a scientist actually have their process to create these mutants in a more intelligent manner or a more efficient manner. Because otherwise, you just throw some ooze on a pigeon and you get this idiot.
I just like how he's just holding a revolver.
Oh yeah, and I was thinking about that too. It's like this guy only knows "Hi, I'm Pete," and they give him an actual gun.
Yes,
like that could have went off on accident any time.
Why Lindsay's duct taped to a chair? So
if she's not ready to damn near piss herself with this idiotic pigeon, that's got to be horrifying.
Idiotic. Hi, I'm Pete. Hi, I'm Pete.
Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off when I saw Pete. I was like, "This is fucking funny."
This was
when
good.
Slash
all this right here
points at them. He's like, "Look, new friends."
Yep. So the only intelligent person in the army of Hob so far is only Hob.
I can't wait to see where things go with Hob. I'm really excited.
I'm sure you have an idea, but yes.
Oh yeah, no, I know he's gonna get a mutant army. I know they're gonna probably pull a lot of the weird mutants that I remember from there being toys as kids. They're gonna be like, we'll make them as actual characters now.
Well, I'll say at least you'll recognize a few of them. We'll go over that when we get there, but there will be a few. Some I think at least one or two are rather original.
Okay.
Well, maybe more than one. Maybe a few are original, but there's a few from back then.
But it has me excited to see where it goes. Like the more I read, the more I get even just into this series, which I find impressive. How much the series keeps pulling me in. I never expected
it doesn't falter yet. I mean, you got a while before that happens.
I know. You said, what, issue 100-ish is when things start getting bad?
Yeah, it starts going down around there.
Okay. We still got a while to go. So I plan to read as much as I can until that. And even then, we'll see how deep I am at that point where I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, we'll see how we feel then. And if it makes sense and we can tolerate it, fine.
How bad can it be?
Okay.
It's still going.
Well, it is. I mean, it doesn't mean... Because I'm not saying like, oh, the series is absolute shit after that. Because it does have some high points. The art is good. The storytelling and the drastic shift in tone, I feel, that hurts a lot. And again, you'll see.
Yeah, it'll probably be another year.
It does, like where I'm at least, it starts to kind of, I feel tends to track upward as far as enjoyability. Like I don't really despise it as much. It's tolerable more so where I'm at now.
Okay. I look forward to getting there. And then to end the other part of this issue, you have Casey meets Hun in the graveyard. You have him fighting everybody in the gang.
And this is kind of where he loses it. I mean, this guy's going berserk power up doom mode right here, and this is like the ultimate showdown, damn near, between these two in a great setting too. The graveyard, I feel, is a very good setting.
And he's gonna kill him. Like he's just about to kill him. Like he picks him up. He's ready to finish it, and then he gets tased by Angel. That's cool how like they show that she's kind of she must have saved Otacon when she escaped Shadow Moses because she has the she can blend in here, the camouflage.
Yeah.
And you see her beat the shit out of all of them by using the kinetic telekinesis, not telekinesis, the freaking levitation thing. She levitates a bunch of the gang members. She lasers a rock
or whatever.
That Hun just punches. Well, lasers a gravestone. He just punches it to smithereens. Like
shows you how much damage he would have killed Casey with that punch. Yeah. By the way,
you can tell
that would have been it. Yeah, he's breaking that damn headstone like that. Yeah, Casey would have been split.
The last thing with Casey before we jump back to the other part is he ends up going on a roof with Angel because she has to get back to Harold. And you can just see how defeated he is in this. Like he's just not all right. Which makes sense. I mean, his father tried to murder him, and he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, and you could argue and say like, oh, the Turtles should be more supportive around this time, whatever. But Turtles got a lot going on themselves. They got a lot on their plate. They're trying to just at the end of the day, save the world, get rid of Shredder, and save the world from Krang.
Yeah, so, they don't. They also don't. I mean, they don't understand what he's going through because they have their father.
They do, and they have a strong family structure, whereas Casey is the exact opposite of that. Besides that, Casey is not the type to necessarily show his feelings, and he was pushing them away in the past issue. He was pushing the Turtles away, he was pushing April away, and what are they going to do? Beg him?
No, they don't give a shit. I mean, not they don't understand. They got enough going on. I mean, and he also does not, like April's trying to connect with him, but at the same time, he's having a hard time connecting with her, which fits because of everything he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
Because he probably doesn't understand how to handle those emotions or how to, trust somebody after, the fact that you're supposed to trust your father and your father wants to murder you because the man that gutted you told him to. So, hey.
Yep.
And then to go back,
we have
the
Flash
stuff
as you. Yeah.
This is interesting, and I do like how every page, hi, I'm Pete. Every single damn page, he just keeps saying it.
I love it. I love it.
And like, Hobbs, trying to explain to him, he's like, yeah, I need Lindsay, like, because look what happens when I take mutagen and, make whatever I want. I made this shit.
Yeah, this deformity, this disaster.
It's fucking hilarious.
So
I don't know. I just found Pete way funnier than I thought I should have.
Oh, and he's great, man. As the series goes on, dipshit, and you'll like it even more as it goes.
Okay, I'm on board for that. And this, like, so finally Raphael unties Lindsay, and she's ready to work with him. She's like, yeah, I want to continue my work. So sure. And like her face when Hobb pulls out the blood, Splinter's blood, and I like how Raphael's like, wait a second, what is that? What I think it is?
He's like, how the hell did you get that, buddy?
I found that interesting.
Hobb should, like, realistically, they should not be talking to this guy. Like, he's so, for the most part, untrustworthy. Yes, he helped them out in his own way, but man, it's hard to be around a guy that you can't trust like that.
No, and they shouldn't be trusting him at all. He's bad, but
he's another manipulator.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a cat too, which I find funny. But
well, I will say, yeah, that too. Cunning, like most cats are meant to be cunning.
Yeah,
but he truly does care for fellow mutants. Like, that's no bullshit. Like, he doesn't want an army just to cause chaos and do whatever. Like, he wants to be treated as almost as an equal or superior, and he wants his other mutants to thrive. Because anytime he runs into most humans, what ends up happening? He gets treated like shit, he gets shot, he gets experimented on, and he's starting to build that resentment towards the majority of them.
Also, it really goes on to how people treat something they don't understand. Fear.
No.
And they don't understand Hobb, so Hobb is treated with fear.
Yep.
It
and
fits
he
the
wants
narrative.
to give them he wants to give them something to fear, even more. All right, you want to fear me? I'll give you a reason.
That's what's coming, huh?
That's kind of his goal in a way. But you'll see as he builds his army that he does truly care about them. And he makes big mistakes with them and makes it seem the other way, but he cares.
Okay. As I said before, I can't wait. And then so then to get the blood and he's showing her the the mutagen, everything he has, and then she's like, well, I can experiment on Slash because Slash was in a controlled environment, and he just grabs the blood and injects himself. And this was not what I expected at all. Like, this threw me for a loop when this all happens. The way that things go, like when Slash gets injected and he just goes crazy, all of a sudden he knocks off Mikey, Raphael, he throws them and all of a sudden freaking Hobb is like a shock, like a freaking electrocuting shotgun type thing, like a taser.
Yeah, it's like a big giant ass taser.
I like that, and then all of a sudden, Slash just clicks. He's like, and he starts talking normal for the first time, and I was like, this is cool because now I'm getting Slash more like the Slash I want, not this. I didn't like the way he was.
The dumb monster, yeah.
Yeah, it was just really cool, and then Lindsay pretty much just joins them. It was the weirdest thing.
Slash was kind of like another Toka.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm okay with Toka being an idiot, but Slash is one of my favorite turtle characters. I like him a lot. And seeing him be this really dummy, I didn't appreciate. So I'm happy that they changed it. It was just cool. And I look forward to seeing now that Slash is, more smarter. I want to see where it goes. I'm very curious.
So that relationship between him and Mikey is one to follow.
Okay.
And especially now that he's more intelligent, you see the dynamic between the two grow.
I'm very, very interested to see. And then this brings us to the last page of this issue where you have Leo and Splinter still talking. They're still in the sewer. And it just says, just remember, man, no matter how bad things get, you're never as alone as you think. And then you just see behind them rat eyes. And I was like, is this what I think it is?
Mm-hmm. You're right in some ways, and I'll explain a little more as we go. But even in the second to last panel, you see some eyes and a couple rats back there just kind of lurking in.
I was like, so my first idea was, okay, they're bringing a rat catcher. It wasn't what I expected, though.
For like what this iteration brings, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way different than any other iteration of the character, and we'll definitely talk more about that in this one.
So that brings us to the last issue we're going to talk about for this episode. And this starts off like a nursery rhyme where the rat catcher is like, once upon a time, rats. They fought the dogs and killed the cats and bit the babies in the cradles and ate the cheeses out of the vats and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles. Like, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it was very strange. That's the first page.
And I'm glad they did that. I love the art that they used for it, that storybook kind of art. I think it really sets the tone for some weird shit that's about to come.
And then it jumps back to Leo and Splinter in the sewer, and they're like, why don't we take a walk? And then they start walking. This also jumps to a very small scene that we have to mention real quick. It's just where Casey almost beats the shit out of April's parents because he sees them trying to break into the building because they forgot their keys, and he's just ready to hit him with a baseball bat. It was very cool. Like, it shows you how frazzled he is.
And yeah, he's on edge, but it also shows how good of parents April has, and that they're willing to treat him as family too, something he needs also.
I liked it. And
these are
they're
parents that he almost never had.
Yeah, and they take him in. They're like, come on in. Like, we'll talk to you. And then I think that's the end of his interaction. Yeah, that's the end of his interaction in this issue. The rest of the issue is all about Leo and Splinter. Mm-hmm. So they're walking through the sewer, and then all of a sudden everything goes dark and they just can't move. And at first I thought, because then all of a sudden it says, but you may call me the Rat King. I thought that they just happened to walk into the area where he was at. I didn't understand very quickly, but that this guy is not a normal person. Because Rat King, is he from Mirage Comics, or was he in the cartoon originally?
He was actually in the Mirage. I kind of remember that arc. It was actually kind of a cool arc back then too. Obviously, he wasn't godlike.
God.
Yeah, but and this is probably the best iteration I've ever had of him.
It's very cool to see. Like, I mean, I was just very confused when you first see him, and then you see him eat a rat, and I'm like, okay, this is not a normal. Like, there's something wrong here, and they're both frozen, and then he has both of them covered with rats. Or no, he talks about himself like the more nursery rhyme, then you find out that it's the same Rat King essentially from the nursery rhymes that the Pied Piper. Like, it's the same guy. He's been around forever.
Yeah, he's been around through Dawn of Mankind, if not before.
And then he mentions Kitsune. I thought he's like, my sister is around, and I was like, okay, this is getting interesting now.
Well, I told you there's more to Kitsune, and this guy let you know about it.
I really like that he's like, that's why I'm in play now, is because she's doing stuff, so it's time for me to show up in this great game, he calls it. And I really like that. And
this guy is all in this game, and you'll see actually as we go, it's more than just Kitsune and Rat King that are playing this game.
Oh, I figured there's more characters involved.
There's whole arcs that surround the Turtles with them meeting these individuals, how they meet them, what their relationships will be with them and Rat King as time goes. So this is really, really the first time, other than some of the stuff you saw Kitsune do, that you're looking at right now the big overarching story of the entire series. Okay, that's not what I expected, but that got me excited. There you go. I won't give you any more details than that because we're making pretty good progress. Yeah. So, okay, and then you have both. Well, Splinter and Leo get covered in rats. That was a weird image to see. Yeah. So, and the Rat King knows that Splinter is like, he knows who they are. Like, he knows like, it's so weird how a rat is actually a man, and he knows exactly what they are and their their past lives and everything. And then you have a 2-page spread of Leo in his Chunin gear fighting a fake Splinter, except he actually hurts the real Splinter, and Splinter's fighting. Oh no, Splinter's fighting Leo's Chunin, and Leo's fighting a fake Splinter. That's what it was. Right. Yeah. And then he hits him in the arm, but then you find out that like when they come back to reality, he has that injury on his arm. Yeah, that could have went really bad. So it was very strange. And like Leo's about to kill the Rat King,
I mean, I don't think he could because I'm assuming it's not the case. But then the Rat King makes them forget everything that happened to them. So they have no memory of meeting him. But I was not expecting Rat King to be like a fucking god. That was not something I expected with the character.
Yeah, he. I think the way they describe it are demigods.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
So these individuals can die, but not in a traditional sense. And you'll see what happens if and when one dies.
Okay. It was just very cool to see because they took a character that, like, from what I remember in the cartoon, Ratcatcher's just a weird guy that lives in the sewers that talks to has rats. Like, he's not...
He just controls rats.
Yeah, and that's, like, I think all the different interactions I've ever seen of him is just a weirdo that controls rats, or in the Turtles in Time game, drives a really cool toy that I had, and, yeah. Like, he's not... It was very cool to see him as, like, this, demigod being. I really liked that.
Yeah, so. It was, when I first saw it, I was like, wow, a character that I didn't hate in the past, but holy shit, are they doing? They're really being progressive with this, and I want to see where it goes.
Well, no, I can't wait, and I love how they keep putting new arcs into this that are all going to play into the same thing. Like, my prediction is that Shredder's killed around issue 100. That's my prediction because of there being a miniseries called Shredder in Hell. So, my prediction. And
don't say anything, but okay.
No, I know, and like I'm assuming that after Attack on Technodrome, Krang's going to be put in the back burner for a little bit, or whatever happens in the Vengeance, because I can't wait. Like we're not that far away from issue 50.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man, I can't wait.
I'm very excited. All right, and then the last part of this issue, after they realize something had happened, and they don't, because he has a cut on his arm, they don't know why, so they know something happened, but they don't know what. So, but Leo just says, he understood something, like, and now that you turn weakness into strength, and he says he knows how to defeat Shredder, essentially, I think is what it's supposed to be, alluding to. But then the last page is you see Shredder arrive at General Krang's island, and he just says, General Krang. And I was like, fucking A, I want to read more.
That's their first meeting.
Sure it is. I actually read the first page of the next issue, so
Whoops! I guess you couldn't. You had to get a taste of it, huh?
No, I had to. I had to look. I couldn't stop myself. But like, it's just because again, he gets in Utran Empire, he gets the note saying about Krang and the teleporter thing, so he goes to meet Krang. Like, fucking A, this series just keeps going. Oh, so good. So yeah. And then the next episode of the show you'll hear will be us talking about a New Mutant Order and Turtles in Time, most likely. Unless they don't connect as well, then it'll just be one of them, but I'm assuming it'll be both. So you can look forward to. All right, and that brings us to Shelf Stacker Box. I'll go first. The annual, easy, go in the box. Trash. It doesn't need trash. It didn't need to be read. But I gotta read everything for the series because that's what I'm doing. But this arc, these 4 issues that I had after Northampton, like, okay, I'll just probably be another chill. And the fact that these were just they were just what I needed after. I still you're still recovering from City Fall. You still need some stuff that's kind of chill. And this is going on the shelf. This was great. I really, really enjoyed these 4 issues that almost didn't fit together but did at the same time. So yeah, shelf. And what about you?
Well, I think our views lately have been pretty parallel.
Yeah.
The annual, I would use as toilet paper if I had a physical copy. So other than that, the rest of the arc, I love the rest of the arc. I can't find really many flaws at all with the rest of the arc. I thought not only was the art pretty good, just everything that they did. I feel like they balanced most of the characters out to where they gave them something. Not so much Raph and Mikey, but even then, even their issue focus was good enough. It didn't have to be big scale, But and the introduction of the big main overarching storyline, whether most first time readers know it or not, keeps you interested anyway. So yes, the rest of the arc, I would definitely show that.
Okay. And again, I just can't get over how they just keep doing this. They just keep making this awesome. I keep thinking it's like, I was like, ahead of time, like before we got this arc, I'm like, maybe this won't be as good. And it's just like, nope, still good.
No, it's good. I mean, it hits speed bumps now and then, but what was the speed bump this time? An annual?
Yeah. And again, you don't have to, annuals are just there. It's my choice to read the crap. So
I in most cases, I tend to look at them as throwaway anyway. I mean, actually now it's a little weird because I'm on the, 2022 annual. That's the next issue I got to read, and that seems not only interesting, but like it's going to play a bigger role in what the storyline is right now.
I'm looking forward to getting caught up to when Jenica finally shows up.
Yeah, that's where things get more interesting. You start seeing a little bit more speed bumps. But either way, I don't hate the character. We'll see more when we get there.
Okay, it'll be a long time, but yes.
Yeah. We got some time. You'll probably see her before you even realize.
Okay. Yeah, I know I looked up a little bit, so I just see what her first appearance was, and it's that you see her before you actually see her. So.
Yep.
But we got a long time for that.
Never look at a character, and you know this by now. Never look at them as throwaway because you just don't know what plans they have for it and what they're going to do with it.
Very little is throwaway in this book, in the series.
Yeah.
And that kind of surprises me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like some of these characters that we've seen already, and you would think, like, man, there's no way they're going to last, like, 80 issues later. Surprise, buddy. You'll see.
Yeah.
Some characters you think are going to last forever might not. I mean, that's to me good writing.
Yeah, like I really thought those stupid, French ninjas were going to last longer.
Nope. So did I, buddy.
Yeah, I completely get that.
I'm actually glad they didn't, though. So yeah.
Oh, and there's a TMT versus Street Fighter comic?
Is there?
Yeah, no, it comes out in May 2023. So it's not out yet, but they're doing my God. So people that are hearing this, it's already been out. At least an issue or two. Depending on. But
when does it come out?
May 2023. So May of this year.
Okay.
People won't hear this till May, probably. So
I see. No, I
have other issues to get out.
I need to really check that out when it comes out. I mean, if it's canon, I'll fit it in where it goes. But if it's not,
I doubt it'll be canon. It feels like something that'll be. It's under non-canon.
Hey, buddy. Oh, is it? Because I was going to say Ghostbusters are fucking canon. So
yes, but that's because they own. IDW owns the rights to Ghostbusters in comic.
Oh, yeah.
They don't own the rights to Batman or Street Fighter, probably, or Power Rangers. That's why none of those are actual canon because they don't own them.
We should do those Power Rangers and Turtles eventually.
Oh, we 100% are. We're doing Batman stuff too. I'm just waiting. So I'm also trying to kind of go with like what came out when, because the Batman is the first one that they did of the crossovers, and I'm trying to figure out when that came out. But yeah, no, that's gonna happen. I'm all on board. Man. I mean, we're going through the entire much as you want to. We'll cover the whole damn thing. I love it. So
good.
I can't believe how much I got into the. I actually own the first 6 issues of the Turtles and Batman stuff. So I actually bought it at a comic book store.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Good. It's good art. Did you read it already?
Yeah, years ago, back in 2015. Yes, 2016.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't read it since.
Worth it. Definitely worth it.
I didn't realize there's 3 of them though.
Yeah, I think. What am I on right now? I think I'm on the 3rd arc. I just never finished it.
I just can't. I mean, they just don't stop.
I'm glad they kept going with it because when I read that first arc, I was like, oh man, this is so good. I hope they come up with more, and they did. they understood.
Batman sells. What can you say?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's
a really cool combination. Did you ever watch the Turtles and Batman movie?
Not yet. Purposely waiting to do an episode on it. So
okay, great, because that is also a good one.
I'll have to get you and my Batman people because I have a couple guys that do Batman with me all the time and do that. So
yeah,
that'll be coming up. All right, I think that's all we need to say about this. So if you want to hear the rest of our Turtles content, you will see a link in the show notes with all our Turtles content that we have done, all the comic episodes, which I highly recommend listening to in order. If you're on board, or if you read this, doesn't matter. But definitely go check those out because you'll get the whole comic series. I'll have to read the comic if you don't. While you're listening, hey, I think that's a great way to still get it. You still absorb enough. I mean, you should read it, but you still absorb it. So whatever. Yeah,
you might miss a few nice visuals otherwise, but
yeah, but you get the information. And if you enjoyed this episode, you support the show. We have a Patreon. You can vote on our Patreon. It's a little $1 a month. We have polls every month, so definitely go check that out. And you can find all our episodes on Podbean for all our content. We have over 450 other episodes of this podcast. We cover games, movies, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. So definitely check all that out. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasfer. You can follow her on TikTok. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who did the MCU movies with me. He started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks At 40. Definitely check him out. And we have a Discord. You can please join our Discord and chat with us. You'll see a link in the show notes. So that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.